All right. Hey guys. So if you're watching this, you are watching the recording. And I am super excited to just give you guys some tips, some tricks, and show you exactly how I am training my medical alert service dog. Now, he is actually a multi-purpose service dog. Argus here. Good boy. Salute. He is 5 months old, and we have been working with him since the day he came home at 6 weeks old. He is a German Shepherd and a Standard Poodle mix. So he's a Shepadoodle, and his breed was actually created in the 1960s by the U.S. Army for them to be police dogs. So he is literally bred to work and to use his nose. And he is very smart, obviously 5 months old, and he's already working on alerts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you guys from the very beginning exactly what we did to get to where we are. But the first thing I want to do is a quick prayer. God, thank you so much for the ability for me to do this for so many people. I pray that everyone who needs this video finds it and that they all learn so much from it and it becomes very helpful to them. Speak through me to them, and it's in your name I pray. Amen. Okay, guys, so the first thing I want to talk about is a clicker. I have a clicker here, and I have taught him to associate here, good boy, to associate this clicker with a treat. So what I first did when I first got started is every time, he's like looking for the scent. Here, good boy. Every time he gives me eye contact, I click and give him a treat. Now, as far as treats go, I just use his kibble. I have always fed him 3 meals a day. Currently, he's up to a little over 3 cups of food a day, but I break it up into 3 meals, and we work through all 3 of those sessions. So what I first started doing here, when I first brought him home, the first thing we worked on is every time he looked at me without me asking, I would just click it and then give him a treat. And I'd say we did this probably for a couple of weeks before it was like super solid. He would just give me eye contact all the time without me asking for it. And that is what I did to associate the clickers. So then I taught him things like to sit and down at ease. And you can literally, if you're brand new to this, or even if you're not, you can salute. You can use any words you want to mean sit or down, and then you can teach them other things. We then taught him touch, and every time he touched my hand, we would use the click, and I taught him this because I knew that I wanted it to be an alert. The other one that I taught him was, he's doing it now, paw, 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 yes. Was paw. So he knows those 2 things, and I formed them into alerts. So the first thing I did is I did not bring, actually, let me get something. Argus, leave her alone. You'll have to forgive him. My mom is cooking dinner over here, so he's like checking us out. This is just an empty cup, so there's nothing in it. The first thing I did is I got jars. Everybody has different techniques. Some people prefer like a squeezy bottle so you can squeeze the smell. It doesn't matter. But for me, I just use a glass baby food jar. If you research it, they tell you to use glass over plastic because it has less of a mix-up as far as smells go. So the first thing I did was I would just hold the jar, and every time he would sniff it, I would give him a click treat. It was just, I wanted him to acknowledge the jar itself. Salute. So every time he did that, I would just click treat when he acknowledged it. Argus here. Argus. He has an obsession with my sister. Argus here. Thank you. Good boy. So acknowledging the jar, and I would click treat it. And it, sorry, bud. Here, Argus. He's still a puppy dog. Argus here. Good boy. Good boy. So I would do that. And as soon as he started to get the hang of that, I started adding the migraine smell to it. Okay. Now do keep in mind he already has what that alert is. He already knows. He already knows that I had to double check that I was using migraine. This is migraine. He already knows the sniffing the jar. So then we just had to add the alert to it. So when he would sniff it, I'd tell him paw. But you see, he does it automatically because he already knows it. But it took some time. So what I'd do is I'd put it down, he'd sniff it, I'd tell him paw, and once he gave me his paw, if he jumps, we don't reward that because that's not what I want. If he gives me his paw, then I reward it. Okay, so what it would look like is I would say, put it down, paw, and once he puts his paw up, I would click retreat it. Yes, good boy. So it was that simple. So sniff, paw, down. Now sometimes after I've been doing it a few times, he'll start pawing before I even get to him with the jar. I don't reward that because I actually want to make sure that he is sniffing it before he's alerting. Here. So eventually, dog hair in my mouth. It's fine. Eventually, what I will turn this into is a paw on my leg. But we're not quite there yet because he's currently already just doing it on my hand. Leave it. Off. Okay, so that's that. So the way you're going to do it is you start by teaching them a quick treat with eye contact. Every time they give it to you, you just quick treat them. Now, you can start by just randomly quick treating over and over and over and over again, just so that they can associate it. If you've never done this, you can absolutely start there and then go to eye contact so that he's giving you something. Then you can give him at ease. Teach him with the commands. If your dog doesn't know commands, then you're going to actually lure them into what you want them to do. Here, before you work with a word. So, fall out. What I would do is I would get him into a sit with a lure because when he was a little puppy. So if your dog doesn't know that yet, but I'm assuming if you are working on scent training, your dog knows basic obedience. So put this in a jar. Make sure you're not cross-contaminating. So you're going to want to make sure that you use gloves, clean gloves each time you're working with it, just because you want to make sure that they're not smelling hand soap on your hands or something like that and associating that with the smell. You can freeze your smells. You can use smells for just about everything. So this is my hemiplegic migraine. I have 3 different types of migraines. Leave it. Good boy. But what you can do is you can do saliva samples. You can do, if you're doing cortisol, you can also wipe it. Good boy. You can wipe your face. So with this one I did, you can see I have a makeup pad and then Q-tips. The Q-tips are saliva. The makeup pad is wiped all over my face and then saliva. So it really has that strong smell. I will replace this every time I have a migraine, but they can be used for months. You just re-put them back into the freezer and make sure that they're fresh. It's that simple. Then we will switch over to my other smell, which is heart rate, and we'll see how he does with that one when we switch over. Now, I will do this for his entire meal. Argus, come here. I will do this for his entire meal. Now, this is a new smell. Remember, he might mess up on this. Don't judge him too harshly. He is still a puppy. He's still in training. I'm not claiming he's fully trained. But he should sniff this. This is a brand new scent, too, so he hasn't smelled this one yet. It's high heart rate, high cortisol from an anxiety/panic attack. He should sniff this and nudge my leg, but we'll see what he does. Touch. Yes. So he knows the word touch, so I'm just luring him into remembering what it is. This is only the third time he's actually had a high heart rate smell, so this is still brand new to him. But you see, he's clearly not trying to always alert as a migraine. He knows that he's supposed to do something, he just isn't sure what. So in this case, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna touch, I'm gonna give him the smell, take it away, and then let him touch. Touch. And he knows this already. This is already alert that we have associated with high heart rate smell. Touch. Because when I start to have anxiety attacks or panic attacks, there are a couple of things that I off. Good boy. Touch. There are a couple things that I do before I actually hit my panic attack. One of those is I jiggle my leg like this, so he knows to touch my leg when I start to shake it. So he's aware of what that smell already smells like, just not in a jar. Touch. Touch. Probably should have brought the one we worked with the other day, but I figured let's make it difficult for him, right? Salute. Touch. So I'm letting him sniff it, and then as soon as I take it away, I'm telling him touch. And eventually, after a few times, he'll start to remember, oh, wait a second, I know what I'm supposed to do with it. There you go, good boy. I know what I'm supposed to do with that smell. I'm supposed to touch with that one. So he's learning two different smells right now. Clearly, you can see the migraine one is the one that he's very used to. We've been working on that one for months now. Like I said, this is only, I think, the third time that he's actually smelled heart rate and cortisol level changes. And this is, yes, this is actually a brand new sample he's never smelled. So I wanted to make sure it's fresh, frizzy fresh. Salute. Good boy. Yes. So he is going to be, so the migraine is a medical alert. This will technically be a psychiatric alert, but he's also using his nose for it. So good boy. So what I'm doing, salute. Yes. What I'm doing is smell. No. Yes. Good boy. I am giving him the smell and waiting for the alert. You notice that now he's already kind of doing it on his own. I'm not having to tell him to touch. He's figuring it out, that that's what we're supposed to do with this smell. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can teach a dog to alert. You could teach a dog to alert to, yes, you can teach them to alert by laying down. You could teach them to alert by pawing a certain part of your body. You could teach them to touch a certain part of your body. I'm wondering if maybe there is migraine smell on this, and that's why he's doing it. Salute. Yes. You could teach them to lay down. You could teach them to climb on top of you. You can teach them to jump. You could teach the dog to do anything. My last dog, I taught him whenever I started to have a panic attack to jump up on me. And I had a really bad experience with a customer at a restaurant once. So I decided that I wasn't going to do that anymore. Salute. Yes. And decided that I was going to do different things. The reason I taught touch and paw is because you can literally teach them to be different alerts for different parts of your body. So he's learning hemiplegic migraine as a paw, and eventually I will translate that over to being a paw on my leg. And then I will have a different migraine scent that will be taught as a paw, or like to put his head on my foot or something like that, so that I know exactly which migraine is coming. And I know how to better prepare myself for it. So this is all it is. It's this simple. Start with the clicker. Once they learn the clicker, then you're going to teach them commands with it, so they're really associating the clicker with a treat. Hey, come here. Ice. Hey, ice friend. To teach them to associate the clicker with different things. Eddie's? Yeah. Eddie's? that's all. It's very simple, you guys. It just takes time. It's about consistency and making sure that you're doing the same thing every time. Remember that dogs are not robots and neither are we. So if you make mistakes, that is okay. Just try your best to fix them and make sure that you're being patient. If you are doing this when you are not in a good mood and not happy and not in the right headset, it's going to make it harder for your dog. So make sure that you are, just prepared for it mentally. And if you're having a bad day and you can't do it in a good mindset, then do something basic. Make sure that your dog has basic obedience down and don't move faster than what your dog can handle. I don't believe that you need to go slow all the time, but you do need to make sure you're doing it at your dog's pace and not what you're hoping to accomplish in 6 months. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me. I will put all of my handles for TikTok, for Instagram. We are a part of a service dog community on TikTok where you can watch other service dogs and training learning. And then we are on Facebook and Instagram for ourselves and TikTok for ourselves. I'll put that in the comments or the description of the YouTube link so that you can check us out, and feel free to message us with any questions. I hope that everyone has an amazing rest of the day, and good luck.